What up, Greek Squad? Alright, so look, man, wanted to jump on here, do a little reaction, and actually, I wanted to say something. It's crazy, man. You know, my life has been crazy. Um, Grew up in the slums for the most part. Sorry, having a hard time breathing, all clogged up or whatever. But anyway, life's been wild, and one of my big achievements was I started this channel, and Ryan started following me, which really made me want to do a lot more. And you know, it's something I check periodically or whatever, just see who's subscribed to you or whatever. For some reason, I don't know what I did or if I've pissed somebody off or was out of line or something, but Brian has decided to unsubscribe from me. Um, Not gonna lie, man, it hurts pretty fucking bad. Not sure if I did something in particular, if, it was out of his control, or if he was hacked, or if he did it himself. But I mean, he was my biggest subscriber, obviously, and my second one is Chaos Divers. So Chaos Divers is at 194K, and then actually, I believe under that is Captain Kirk with 11K, and then I have quite a few more subscribers underneath that. But I wasn't expecting it, and sucks, man. It does. I ain't gonna lie. That was something that pushed and helped me go for my goals, and obviously, I guess I didn't do something right on here, but I'll tell you what, man. I'm fixing to hit the ground running, so hopefully, with that fact being known, that y'all still rock with me and ride with me, and it wasn't just about what content I could bring, but also about me bringing the content. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that's the case, and we're gonna hear what he has to say here. And I have quite a few things that I've already decided, so they're gonna drop, and I hope y'all still here for them. So with that being said, here we go.
All right, let's talk music industry. Let's really talk music industry, though. The future of the industry. Let's really talk about it in a problem-solving way. Let me start off by saying this. People have favorite superheroes and people have favorite villains. When you watch the show Cops, you're watching cops and bandits. There wouldn't be a show called Cops if there wasn't a bandit to chase. It would just be cops, and then the show would be just cops standing there, not chasing bandits. Some of us want the bandit to get away. Some of us want the cop to arrest the bandit. But we're both watching the same TV show. Some superheroes have a tad bit of a bad boy side. Some villains have huge hearts. Perfect example of a villain having a huge heart is look up The Barefoot Bandit. It is a true story about a kid who was in a foster home, read a book, taught himself how to fly airplanes and do all this crazy shit. He flew all over the world. He had the FBI. He had everybody looking for him. He would rob rich houses without hurting anybody in the middle of the night without anyone knowing, and he would leave that money in the house of maybe a single mom who had a rundown place, and he would leave from there. Okay, now let's talk music, thinking about that same exact comparison. In music history, right now, we're living in the first time where independent artists are multiplying everywhere. Not only are they multiplying, some of these independent artists are either already have blown up or they're on the rise to blow up. And there's going to be your old heads in here that's like, well, there's always been independent artists. I understand that. But there has never been independent artists to the caliber it is now, to the numbers they're getting, to the exposure they get, to the money they make that they can, use for marketing to buy every fucking billboard in town for 3 months. And another thing, especially if a independent artist has made it to such a level that they are trending, they are getting golds, they are getting platinums, they are doing all these things and meeting all these great accomplishments just as the mainstream artists are as well. Here is the thing. Now, independent artists and mainstream artists and record labels are all on the same playing field, which is social media, which is iTunes charts, the trending list, all that. So here's the thing. Independent artists and mainstream artists both have the same listeners. You know, I mean, it is music. There's some people I don't even like, but I listen to their music because I like their music. And I'm assuming, whether it's business-wise, whether it's personal-wise, everybody's end goal in music in general is to what? Satisfy the listener. We all satisfy our listeners in different ways, but that is the end goal, to satisfy the listener. Some people's dream is to sign a record label, is to host the CMA Awards, do things that they want to do. I understand that. I agree that country music needs to have the superheroes with a little bit of bad boy side. Totally understandable. But it also needs the villain with the huge heart. Going back to the Barefoot Bandit story, that's true. I told y'all could look up. Okay, if the independent artist is the Barefoot Bandit and the powerhouse is mainstream, the Barefoot Bandit is coming through in the middle of the night and just robbing a little bit of the mainstream each time in different ways. And I'm talking about on social media in different ways, like speaking out against them, like saying, hey, I don't mess with this artist, here's why.
All right.
And if it's an independent artist that, you know, has proven himself to his listeners and been respected for so many years and never has started crap with nobody, only finished it when he had to, and only stood up for himself when he had to, and voiced his opinion against people when he had to, well, then that independent artist becomes a problem for the mainstream. But it's both ways. Then the mainstream could rob the Barefoot Bandit, the independent artist, just the same. By what? Social media stuff. The way the mainstream could rob the independent scene, which now they're on the same playing field, social media, they could rob them by faulty articles, Trace, damaging false information, misleading headlines on, you know, major outlets, Taste of Country. But here's the real question. Let's all ask ourselves this. Does it have to be like that? It don't have to be like that. I mean, let's just be real. This is a very crucial time for Music City history. And I'll tell you why. Because you have born and raised Nashville native Jelly, who went to the mainstream.
Yeah, there's always going to be a big conflict, up and down, left and right. So I feel that I'm just listening on this one, so I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
Songs are being played on the radio, 1029, 103.3. They're doing great. People are loving it. Then there's myself, who has become one of the biggest independent artists in the world. Also, born and raised from Nashville, Tennessee. That's two born and raised Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, hometown boys on each side winning how they want to win. Mainstream, independence. Now, do you want those two entities throwing shit at each other? Or do you want those two entities working together? And I don't mean just me and Jelly. I mean the whole independent scene and the whole mainstream scene. I'm just using me and Jelly as a reference so people understand what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is, this is a make it or break it moment for the structure of Music City business. We are living in the make it or break it moment for the next 50 to 100 years of Music City history. For real. And here's why. The mainstream is always figuring out ways to survive. Independent artists are always figuring out ways to survive. The independent scene right now is rapidly getting fucking humongous. The mainstream is humongous. But if the mainstream is this big and the independent is growing really rapidly right now, what happens when there's more independent artists and more listened to independent artists as the mainstream is this size. If the mainstream is this size and it sees the independents starting to get bigger and bigger, it is going to throw more attacks at the independent artist, which is going to make the independent scene throw shots back over here. So it's this constant fuck you, and everyone grows slower. Instead of wasting time and having both entities try to figure out how to combat each other, why wouldn't two entities try to get in a room and figure out how to coexist with each other in each way they want, but also work together on the same platform, since you're on the same platform? Once again, this is about the listener. Imagine if there was a version of Holler Boys with me and Justin Moore. This is these try to get in a room and figure out how to coexist with each other in each way they want, but also work together on the same platform, since you're on the same platform. Once again, this is about the listener. Imagine if there was a version of Holler Boys with me and Justin Moore. People would go nuts. Not only that, it would accidentally make perfect sense and fit the storyline perfect. I've said before plenty of times that I grew up on Justin Moore. I've shouted him out in rap songs, but look, this is all in past tense. What I'm getting at is, if you took that mainstream entity and this independent entity, and the timing would have been perfect, because you have Justin Moore, who's been around for a while, been super successful, but he's been around long enough to where not as much promotion money is getting spent on Justin Moore, because, you know, there's been 30 other artists or whatever come out since then that have gotten big. But now you have this independent guy over here who's been giving Justin Moore, you know, props and shit during his come up, and he's made it to a spot where it's like, oh shit, like, yo, this dude over here's got some serious ass numbers, maybe bigger than these over here from this mainstream artist. Oh snap, let's put them together. We put them together. The independent guy, they're like, yo, what the fuck? He's got a feature from Justin Moore. Over here on the Justin Moore side, boom, he just got a bunch of free promotion from people on this side who also like Justin Moore and were wanting to see Justin Moore do something new. And maybe people who haven't seen Justin Moore, well, that's another explosion for him promotion-wise that the label doesn't have to pay for. Both parties win. Mainstream do mainstream, independent do independent. Both bosses doing some cowboy handshake shit, going their separate ways, and both getting to stick to the truth of who they are and the morals of how they like to do their business with the music. But also, on the other hand, it's traded publicity, because then it's traded from the independent artist to the radio, getting seen where he wouldn't get seen, but he also gets to stay independent, and here's how. Mainstream does a song with independent artist. Independent artist says, all right, bet, I'll do this one, I like it. Let me say what I want to say. If you don't like it, don't use it. Here's my verse, here's my stuff, here. If you like it, keep it. 100% of it. I don't want to make no money from the mainstream. That's not Ryan Upchurch's goal. I want to be the Barefoot Bandit, cuz. I know what you're thinking. Well, why in the hell would you want to do a song with a mainstream artist and then not get no money from it? Simple answer. Because that is having a deal with a record label. I don't want a deal with a record label. I want to be crazy-ass independent Ryan Upchurch. But if there is a mainstream artist I like that I want to do a song with, then let's do it. You can have 100% of the song, but I'm still independent. I'm still just Ryan Upchurch, cuz I'm still gonna maybe tomorrow release a song because I fucking feel like it. Because I'm allowed to, because I'm not signed to nobody. But it was good doing business with you signed folks over there. See you later. That is a good relationship. That's the kind of relationship a independent artist, I'm guessing, would want with the mainstream. We don't want a record deal. We don't want to be signed by nobody. Shit, we don't even want the money. You can keep the money from the song too, because you're giving me the promotion, so you can keep the money, but I'm going to keep the money from my songs, and you ain't got to promote mine. That's even as hell. But we want to be respected the same, and we do want to work with each other and make music for the listener. Once again, for the listener. And if a huge movement like that started now, that would be great for the future of music business and music artists on both sides, making money, living comfortably, and coexisting with each other. If it doesn't change and someone doesn't figure out something right now, both are going to be huge powerhouses and they're going to be going at each other. And bro, you don't think the independent scene in 50 years is going to have like 5 humongous artists get together and create a powerhouse that is gargantuous to go against this over here? Yeah, bro, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fucking critical thinking and figuring out is what it's going to be. Or it can be enjoyable, interesting, and iconic for this generation of music. That's what it could be. Because it's only going to multiply as it goes further. Either we can gain control of it, or we could just let it flow out of control and just let everybody fight and go against each other. I mean, bro, imagine if the CMAs opened up an independent section. So at the CMAs, you had the independents, the rebels, and then you had the other side. Depending on what side you are, that's what side you're rolling with. And to the other side, it makes this side look better. And then to this side makes this side look better. You satisfy everybody, bro, because every kind of person is involved. Some people are rule breakers and some people are rule followers. What are people saying right now in Music City? They're saying there ain't no fucking rebels left. Let's give the people the rebels, bro. Let's work that out. And any mainstream folks out there thinking, well, why the hell we want to pick up some independent artists and just build them up? No, you don't do ones you already got to build up. You do ones that have proved themselves as a actual, for real independent artist out here getting themselves to this insanely high level they're not supposed to be at. That's the one you do business with. I ain't talking about just me. I'm talking about all the independent artists in the world. You go for the ones that you know ain't gonna fuck their shit up or do nothing stupid to fuck their shit up because they work for all of it. So you really got nothing to worry about. And you didn't have to put no money into it for it to get there. It got there by itself. So when a record label tries to say, hey, we want you, they're always gonna push away from you, bro. They're always gonna push away from the mainstream because there's nothing the mainstream can really do for them. So if the independents can only do so much for them and they can only do so much for the independents, it only makes sense for it to be an even trade. You stay what you are, I stay what I am. Let's do this song together, shake hands, goodbye. Everyone looks good, and last but not least, the listener is getting something they never thought they would get. Especially right now. In the future, it will be normal. But right now, in our time, it would catch all of our listeners off guard in the best way possible. Don't believe me? Get in a room with me. Let's figure that out for the listener. Let's figure that out for the future of music. It is possible for mainstream and independent to separately coexist in the same room, have respect for each other, and be respected on the same exact playing field all together. I mean, come on, man. It's Music City. Do you make better music in a studio when the vibe is weird, or do you make better music in a studio when the vibe is great? I think Music City knows that answer, and so does the music listener. Love you guys, church man. Out, baby!
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today we're in here with the one and only Ryan Upchurch. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
Excellent. You know, okay, so I was saying earlier, I'm like, this guy reminds me of like one of the rappers that I cover who's like really from the streets and stuff, but like the sort of like other side of that, like the white boy version of that. And then when you came in here with what is a clearly armed security guard, that just kind of further cemented that, because like that's how it is a lot of times when you interview like these young dudes are from the streets, like they probably might have a case so they can't like have a firearm on them, but they have like a trained guy with them or whatever.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm very interested to see that you have security concerns, like you're really like hot in these streets like that, you know.
In the wood pile, bro. I'm hot in the wood pile.
So, okay, give me the early stages though. Like, how did you kind of decide that you were going to become a celebrity, and like, or did you want to be a musician or a fucking rap or a just like an entertainer at first?
Dude,
what was the process?
Honestly, I got kicked out of high school. I started working construction after high school. You know, everybody in the country, bro, if you drop out of high school, if you get out of high school and ain't got a job, you're working with your grandpa, your dad, that shit's getting passed down. You know, you're learning some trades to, like, support yourself, this, that, and the other. And honestly, dude, I've loved rap music from an early age, and especially being from the kind of place I'm from, you know, it's kind of like turn that crap off or pull your pants up, you know, or something like that. So you kind of like have to sneak and listen to rap music, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, I don't know. I don't know, man.
So you felt conflicted about that from an early age? Like you felt...
Oh, no, I didn't care.
Right, but I mean, I kind of, similar to an extent, growing up in New Hampshire, it was like, you know, to a certain extent, and especially, you know, I remember when I went to junior high in like 97, that was very much like a thing. Like, you're not supposed to like rap music or whatever. Like, the school was very split. There was like, the kids would listen to fucking Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and Metallica and shit, and then the kids would listen to rap. And it was kind of weird for me to be a white kid who was like very much interested in rap and also interested in other music, you know?
Oh, yeah, dude. Growing up in Nashville, it's definitely a huge... I'm going to take this dip out so it don't sound shitty.
I like it.
It's like I'm chewing on toilet paper.
Add some flavor. That's your version of smoking a blunt, is that you have some...
Oh, no, I can smoke a blunt. I threw up on the airplane for being too high on the way here.
Did you really?
Hell yeah,
Well,
dude.
you took an edible or some shit?
Fuck yeah. Well, I didn't take one. I took 4.
Wow.
And my buddy took 2, and dude, walking past the bomb dog, bro, it looked like he had wooden legs. He didn't want to bend his knees. It was hilarious.
I don't think the bomb dog is sniffing for weed.
No. We didn't know that, though, at that time, because I've only rode an airplane like 3 times.
At that time, that dog just seems intimidating. And
Super intimidating.
That dog is just a snitch. He'll snitch on any kind of criminal behavior. You really ended up playing 3 times?
Yeah, dude.
Are you scared of it or something?
No, I love it.
Really?
I love it. I'm like a hobbit, dude. I like staying in my own little county and doing my own little thing.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm friends with people who, you know, who do other things and, you know, go to these crazy parties like y'all go to and stuff. But I'm just like, you know, front yard, chilling with 10 homies kind of thing, you know.
You're very much like chosen to sort of stay on this humble path.
I don't know about that. It's just I get weirded when I leave and go to like these places where I feel like I don't belong, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like out of place all the time.
I feel it. Okay, so wait, you graduate high school, you start, you know, learning various trades, sort of like average kind of thing that somebody from your area does after high school, right?
Yeah.
And but you loved rap. And how do you start to pursue rapping, or like, was that the idea?
Dude, I sucked so bad when I started, but I was trying so hard, I didn't even care. The first album that I ever come across was the Get Rich or Die Trying album, and I was like in like 8th or 9th grade. And dude, I listened to that mug so many times, and I don't know, I guess it just kind of, actually the first album I ever had was a Roy Jones Jr. album, because my grandfather used to fight chickens with,
He rapped?
Yeah, dude. Roy Jones Jr.'s got some rap shit.
Yeah, I missed out on that whole fucking thing. That's interesting. But somehow
I
that
don't
relates to your
think it
grandfather
ever-
fighting chickens.
Yeah, he used to fight chickens, yeah. Roy Jones, he's got a picture with Roy Jones Jr. chilling in our yard holding 2 roosters.
Oh, wow.
On my Instagram, yeah.
So you don't look down on that behavior at all? Fighting chickens is just normal shit?
To me, growing up where I grew up, dude, a lot of stuff is different. That's another thing I'm noticing. You know, as I get further in this career and meet other people, you know, I see myself changing as a person because I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I've never seen before and being exposed to it. But at the same time, you know, how I grew up is how I grew up, you know.
Right.
I can't help that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But it gives me all the traits now to create the kind of music that I do, so...
Like when I was 19 and I went to Amsterdam, like me and my friends saved up and went to Europe for a week or 2, and just seeing like, you know, the prostitutes in the fucking booths on the side of the street, and they got the weed cafes and shit. It was very like eye-opening, like, oh, all over the world there's different standards of what's going on in terms of like what's considered acceptable, etc. And so like the reason why I say that is like, you know, me growing up, I wasn't exposed to cockfighting or dog fighting, but like I had some rappers on here the other day, and I'm listening to them, and they're clearly talking about dog fighting, and they're actually making fun of dudes who basically fight pussy ass dogs. Like they were like basically insulting the quality of their someone else's dog. So you know, it's just you know.
See, I could never fight a dog, bro. Dogs are too cool. Chicken,
Really?
yeah, roosters. I mean, you can't eat them. You can't cook them and eat them or nothing like that. Like a rooster's just pretty much all muscle. I mean, literally, you can cut their head off. No, literally run around for like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You ever done that?
Have I cut a chicken's head off?
Yeah.
No, but the first time I ever went to a chicken fight was in this place called Hohenwald. And I was probably like 11 years old. And I go out back, and an 8-year-old kid was like, hey, he's like, you want some of this dip? He had a dead fucking rooster in his hand, and he was banging this rooster's head off this Walmart buggy that they put all the dead roosters in. Yo, keep in mind, I'm 11 years old. I got this 8-year-old fucking chopping this chicken's head off and trying to give me a dip, and I was like, yo, this is the fucking country, bro.
Right.
And I went with my grandfather every time he went.
Wow.
It was wild to see, dude. It was wild to see. You see cops there. You see fucking the judge there. The guy, Larry from down the street who works on a Zuzu's there. Like, everybody's there fighting chickens, dude. But dude, you're talking big money, though. You're talking like sometimes your motherfucker might win $60,000, fucking $100,000. Like, these people are fucking making a shit ton of money doing that stuff.
Let me ask you this, like, you know the way that you grow up and you think that everything that you grew up around is just normal? And, you know, then at one point, it's like every kid has this sort of awakening where they realize what the, like, the perception of where they're from is. Like, being from New Hampshire, I've, like, kind of had that. Like, I left home, and then, like, one of my friends from New York comes to New Hampshire, and, like, just seeing his reaction to it kind of, like, opened my eyes to, like, oh, my God, I am from a really fucking white trash place, and there's a lot of heroin addicts just walking around here, because there was, like, junkies all over the place, but I didn't really, as a kid, I didn't realize they were junkies, and then, like, one of my friends comes there and sees it. Anyway, I say all that just to say, when did you sort of, like, realize, is there a particular moment that comes up in your head that is, like, when you realize, like, oh, I'm a country-ass motherfucker in comparison to most other people?
Right, dude. I don't know. I don't even guess I've really realized it yet. Because, I mean, this is like one of the first fucking interviews I've done. You know what I mean? Like I go other places like Flint, Michigan and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm southern as hell. But you got to think, though, everywhere has, how do I say this? Like, everywhere has their type of rednecks or something. They're just different. You know, I mean, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, bro, rednecks are just the same as a lot of other people. You just tweak a few things, and it's the same exact person, just in a different environment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, there's rednecks where I grew up now, too. Like, I'll see them, like, posting up the Confederate flag and shit. And I'm like, you're from fucking New Hampshire. Like, be serious. Like, it's funny because to me it feels like they're appropriating what is actually like your culture. Like they're trying to secede basically. Like, but even though they're on the east.
I feel you. Yeah, I don't know. I see that a lot, dude. I do go up north and see a lot of Confederate flags and stuff. I mean, obviously I see them in Tennessee. You know, I'm from the South, but I do see what you're saying though. You go elsewhere and it's like people. They take the symbolism and they use it of their own, you know, whether it's being rebellious or whether it's whatever, anti-government or whatever it may be, you know. I know there are things attached to it that make people uncomfortable, and I do understand that, but I also like to tell people, like, hey man, like, you know, I got that mug at my house. You know what I mean? My buddy's got it at our house. We're not out saying, you know, we hate this kind of person. We want everybody to be open and be who they are, not be scared to be something that they're not to other people. You know, because that's what makes the world go around, bro. I mean, I got friends that, you know, they don't support the Confederate flag or nothing like that. Rightfully so. That's their lifestyle. You know, that's cool. But we don't talk about it. We don't argue about it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't one of those things where it's like, no, you have to have this on your truck to be my friend. Like, and I feel like that's what fucking social media has done, dude.
But it's weird, yeah, because social media takes everything to the extreme. Dude. So the Confederate flag becomes purely a symbol of racism.
Right.
Whereas, like, you know, down south, like, I've seen it throughout my life and stuff, that there's definitely a lot of people who roll around with that shit on their car or whatever, and that's not what it meant to them. But, like, that kind of perception of it has kind of almost made that the reality, where now if you're a person who wants to roll around with that on your truck, you know that everybody's going to perceive it that way at this, maybe not where you're from, but around, you know.
Well, no, where I'm from too, though. Where I'm from too, like, you know, everywhere, you know. It's the person, to me, it's, man, I'm one of the people like I'm not gonna sit here and say a bunch of stuff unless I meet somebody, and when I meet somebody, then I'll make my judgment of them. That's kind of how I am, you know.
Right. But with the media and shit these days, it just really, really encourages everybody to think of everybody else as being where they're from, what they believe. If you know one opinion of a person, like if you know that person doesn't support abortion, then you can just fill in the blanks of every other thing that you assume that they believe too. It's like, you know, that's kind of like what has become of our society in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But see, I mean, even then though, you know, somebody like myself who has however many followers, I don't know, but you know, when people ask me something, I want to make about the Confederate flag or something like that. I always make it a point to be like, yo, I'll answer your question. Like, let me, the guy who's holding it and the guy who has a tattoo on it, let me answer your question. I got you.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not going to be like, no, you don't like it, man. Get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather be like, yo, let me understand where you're coming from,
yeah.
and then let me tell you where I'm coming from,
That's
so we
almost
can,
super
you know,
good.
show